Should you confront your abuser, the narcissist? This is a recurring debate, a recurring theme that I address many times, and I will address it more because it's quite complex. And there are different things to take into consideration. Over the years, I've listened to your voices, and there is a line down the middle of those who believe that you should confront them, and then there are those who say, no, you should take the high road and say nothing. And also, what if it's dangerous and you confront them and it gets aggressive and violent? So there are a lot of things to take into consideration. Ultimately, here's my answer. My name is Germaine. I'm author of the book Pink is the Color of Empathy. I am a life coach specializing in empath empowerment and narcissist abuse recovery. Go to my website, vitalgermaine.com, for more info if you're interested in coaching. Ultimately, here's my answer. You should confront your narcissist, the bully, your oppressor, whether it's at work, whether it's in a personal relationship, whether it's with family. And here's why. I'm going to break it down. When people choose to say nothing, they position themselves in a status of inferiority, of fear. Because if you analyze, why are you saying nothing? One of several reasons. One, you say nothing because you don't want to create conflict. You don't want to ruffle feathers. So you're coming from a place of fear and being subconsciously intimidated that I'm going to stay quiet, which is what we learned in our childhood. We stayed quiet to not upset or offend our narcissist parent, our abusive parents. And so that now became such a default setting that to you it feels like the right thing to do. So you've learned to stay silent, whether it's at work, the boss is bullying you and abusing you, you just decide to remain quiet and get on with your work. And it appears as though there's a level of quiet. You go into work, you minimize the interaction with your boss, but here's the issue. The bullying, the abuse, the toxicity will continue. And your staying quiet actually now creates the internal conflict, whether it's conscious, that you start getting disappointed with yourself that you didn't say nothing, and then they abuse you again, they bully you again, they subliminally insult you again, they undermine you again, and you get frustrated and you get angry. And a part of you is wishing you spoke up. When you do choose to speak up, it's because you have stepped into your power. You own the situation, you have the confidence that I can let you know that I will not tolerate this type of abuse, this type of bullying, this type of disrespect. I am strong enough. I'm in warrior mode to confront you and tell you, you will not step into my castle. And if you do, I will hit you over the head with a battle axe, because you are protecting, you are powerful enough to speak up for yourself, for your village. So you've got to try to let go of this concept that, no, I'm going to play small. So now let's get to the issue of it could get violent. Yes, it could. But again, you not confronting them because the consequence is this, so I'm going to say nothing because I can't deal with this consequence. You're not in power. You're playing small. You're playing from a position of fear. And then when it comes to the abuse that could be physical, you now have to ask yourself the question, if that is your fear, why are you with this person? If you are afraid that it's going to get physically violent, why are you with this person? But wait, there's more. I'm not encouraging anybody to just suddenly out of nowhere confront their abuser and get the crap beaten out of them. That's not what I'm promoting here. What I'm inviting you to do is to gradually come to a place of power where you have an outlet. You are in a position of safety where you either have friends who will support you, where you have access to calling the authorities or the police if it does get violent. You've got to have the backup plan to stay safe. But if as long as you stay in a position of meekness, unwilling to confront them, you are living in fear and you are not stepping into your power. And the last thing that I want to add in terms as to why you should confront the bully. Energetically, spiritually, if you say nothing, let's say you say nothing and you walk away, you are still walking away having never claimed your power. You've never owned and had a voice. And that energy, that mindset will continue into your next relationship. Because in this relationship, if you develop the courage to speak up, you can now take that energy, that mindset, that strength, that confidence into the next relationship. And the more internal fortitude you have in terms of speaking up, the next narcissist will sense that energetically. This is not a person I can mess with. They will confront me. They will put on the boxing gloves. Now the narcissist has to decide, am I going to get in the ring with this person when I know I can find easier prey? So energetically, you've got to set yourself up for the future by owning your story, owning your identity, protecting your value, your worth. So energetically, you cannot play submissive because you carry that on to the next relationship. And then also in terms of energy and the next relationship, by you speaking up, holding the boss at work, the toxic leader, the abusive husband, the toxic wife, by confronting them, you are exposing them. And through you exposing them, you give the potential next victim an opportunity to see, that's who that type of person is. Because when one person speaks up, it gives the next person the courage, more courage, to then also speak up. So if anybody is looking at you in terms of leadership, and we don't always know who is observing us, but if you're that person in the workplace who is being bullied and you say nothing, the next person now also lives in fear. When they see you speak up, they now think, oh, I'm not crazy to think that I was being bullied. Yeah, you know what? I'm also going to speak up now. And then the next person speaks up, and the next person. So you now have to step into a position of leadership with courage and confidence and make a difference by speaking up. That's why I believe you should confront the narcissist, the bully, and speak up for your own benefit, for your own emotional wellness, for your own mental health, for your own physical wellness, for your own self-esteem and self-confidence. But maybe more importantly, you are passing on an energetic form of power for the next person. And also, if every single empath, every single highly sensitive person, every single victim, if we collectively all got the power, the confidence to start speaking up, we tip the balance. Whereas the narcissist knows my victim's going to stay silent, which gives them more confidence and more power. The more people speak up, the more empaths speak up, the more the narcissist will fear this type of victim because they know, oh, they're empowered, they have a voice, they're self-confident. Ooh, I'm going to go find easier prey. And then that easier prey has been empowered by this group, and it gets passed on, and it gets passed on, and it gets passed on. It takes a village. And it's up to you now whether you are going to be the leader, the example of that village of empaths to become empowered. They're my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Let me know why you think the way you do. And if you have experience, share your experience, your journey. What was the outcome of saying nothing? What was the outcome of speaking out? And again, I want to close by saying, if you're in a position of potential danger, before you speak up, make sure that you have some type of support system that will protect you. It might mean being ready to call authorities. or having to leave your environment secretly overnight, but just make sure you have those things in place before you leave, because I don't want anybody to get physically hurt in addition to the emotional